my name is David and I'm gonna build my very first own PC ever. I'm a graphic designer and an animator, and I have worked for the past few years actually on a laptop, which isn't bad, but it's old and the hardware it has is just not capable of doing stuff I actually want to do. So I thought it was actually time for an upgrade, and I saved money for the past few years now. Actually, for 6 years I'm trying to save money for a PC. I'm gonna to use a Ryzen 9 5900X combined with G-Skill 3600 CL16 together with Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro on a X570 chipset mainboard from MSI. So let's get started. So first things first, I unboxed the motherboard and took out all the accessories. Oh yeah, and do not forget the I/O shield of the board, because if you do, well, have fun. I placed mine on the side so I'm able to see it all the time. After that, I placed the board on the box itself to have a non-conductive surface to work on, so I could mount the parts, starting with the CPU, then the NVMe SSD and the rest of the components. I went to work on the RAM next after the SSD was screwed down. Oh, and do yourself a favor and read the manual if you're using 2 RAM sticks, even if you build many PCs already. As I wanted to work on the cooler next, I realized pretty quick that unboxing the Dark Rock was unnecessary. And you will see why in a minute. Well, yeah, those mounting brackets won't fit on the motherboard now, will they? Yeah, keep on trying, big boy. Well, I just realized I have made a mistake. I have bought the wrong cooler for my CPU. I have bought the Dark Rock Pro TR4 and not the Dark Rock Pro 4, which means yeah, I can't mount it. I can't install it because the mounting mechanism is not right. So I actually, well, I can continue though. I can do some other stuff. Well, that went as planned. God damn it. I just realized that it's actually it's labeled right here only for Ryzen Threadripper, but which I don't have. So I have to return this cooler, and yeah, after that I have to order a new one, and I hope that it's actually will be here in time so I can move on with the build. God damn it. Greetings, and it's now day 3 of my PC build, because I had to wait for my new cooler to arrive, and I didn't know when this happened, so I actually bought a real cheap Ryzen CPU cooler, like right next to my apartment where I actually live, and it is functional, so I can actually finish the job. But I have bought it, and actually today came in the Dark Rock Pro 4, not the TR4, but Pro 4. And I actually unboxed it already, so I know that I had the mountings for the case or for the motherboard I actually need. So yeah, I can actually mount the cooler now and get everything inside the case. And after that I can actually cable management the thing, so yay, I just lost 2 days for something stupid like this. Oh well, let's get moving. As you can see, I already applied the thermal paste on the CPU. Since I've never done this before, I wanted to use a method that covers the most part of the heat spreader. I also think there is no right method to do it, so I chose the X. After the motherboard was pretty much complete, I opened the side panels of the case, took the power supply and connected all the cables I need, so I don't have to bother with it later on. I didn't install it yet though, but it was ready to go when I needed it. So I lifted the board and inserted it into the case, and trust me when I say that the Dark Rock cooler is heavy. I was so afraid to drop the whole thing. After a short break, I worked on the front panel connectors before I prepared the case to mount the GPU. I actually did a lot of cable work before installing the GPU, because after that it becomes quite hard. Once everything was in, and I actually struggled a bit to cable manage the case, and I did this off camera because it took me a while to figure that out, but the side panel fits and it closed on the first try. When it comes to the tempered glass though, well, it is my first PC I have ever built, so I wanted to do something special. Yes, it's my logo I want to apply onto it. To do so, I choose a glass decor film, also known as wrapping foil, so that it has an engraved look. I could engrave it though, but that's quite expensive. Also, it's permanent, so if I decide to change it to something else, I can easily do so by removing it. You can see here that I'm preparing the glass with water combined with soap. I'm doing it so the film doesn't stick onto the glass right away. I'm also preparing the wrapping foil by pressing it down to make sure the adhesive side won't stick to the paper underneath. To be honest, you don't have to wet the wrap as well, because it takes much longer for it to dry. But I did it just for good measure, so I can still make adjustments if the whole thing is not on the spot I wanted it to be. Once I was happy with the position, I started to press the wrap down, beginning from the middle and going to the sides. Now you can see why I put a towel under the glass. Oh yeah, and I also making sure that I don't have any air bubbles. Once I peeled the paper from my logo, I realized that the soap left some watermarks, so while I was at it, I cleaned the whole glass as well. Small detail gives my PC a personal note, and I really do think that it came out pretty nice. So, the computer runs, and it runs really smooth, and I'm really glad it does. I had some issues and some problems on the way to assembling the whole thing, but that's a different story for another video. But I'm finally managed it to build my own PC without any knowledge whatsoever, and I'm just happy it runs. Yeah. Well, I will talk about all the issues I had on a different time. But now I'm just enjoying the whole thing, and I'm just glad that I can game on the PC, and I can work on the PC, and that I can actually do the stuff I want to do, which means 3D animations, 3D modeling, graphic design, etc., and building some kind of a name for myself, and maybe continue with the YouTube. So let's see. Also, if you're wondering why I have two different monitors, well, that's because the right one is my gaming monitor and the left one is my pen display for all of my artsy stuff. So feel free to stick around if you want to see more art made by me. But until then, I will go back to my